Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, we're talking to Catriona Dejean from Eastbourne in the United Kingdom, who has written a book called Leading Edge. Catriona, welcome.
Hi, Matt. It's great to be here with you today.
So, Eastbourne is down on the south coast. Is the sun shining? Are you rushing off to the beach after this interview?
Yes, today is actually sunny. We've had quite a lot of rain down here, been a bit cold, but it feels like summer is on its way. So probably we'll go down to the beach, probably not to swim, but I do like to go to the beach and be inspired by the coast. So yeah, it's a great place to live.
Is it sandy or stony, or a bit of each?
Stony, lots of big pebbles.
Oh, and do you build those little piles of stones and then try and knock them down with another stone?
I personally don't, but I know that people do, and you see, lots of creative things going on the beach with the stones. And I think we do have a few pebbles that we've probably brought back from the beach that are now in our garden. So
Ah,
yeah, there's often interesting stones that you see on the beach and just interesting patterns.
yeah. I must confess, when I was last in at home in Sicily, I collected a number of stones from the beach that I thought were fascinating. I always collect shells, but
Hmm.
sometimes stones. Anyway, we're not here to talk about beaches and sand and stones. We're here to talk about you and the amazing book you've written. So, Catriona, tell us about you. You work for an amazing NGO called Tear Fund, who I've had a lots to do with over the years, and you're one of the directors there. Have you had a career in the non-profit kind of social impact space, or is this relatively new for you?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. That's a great question. So I've been in the social impact, social kind of justice world for most of my career. So I did actually start out in environmental consultancy in the private sector, and real interest in the environment. So real passion for environmental social issues. And then sort of found myself going more into the kind of the social justice spaces and international development. But I think some of that really came from, earlier in my childhood and teenage years and at university when I studied geography, and just this real curiosity and interest in people and places and spaces. And I was able to spend actually some time in Zimbabwe doing my undergraduate dissertation and understanding indigenous knowledge and how that was used for environmental protection. So I've always had an interest and curiosity in people, in how things work in societies, and in making a difference. So yeah, so it's been pretty much who I am and what I've done over my career.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting, and we've seen the evolution of social responsibility in business, haven't we? I mean, it started off, trying to think where it all started, but it was social responsibility, then citizenship. Now it's what are those three letters? Um, Governance, environmental. Can't remember the phrase. What's it called? You should know this.
ESG, I
It's
think. Yeah,
ESG,
yeah, that's right.
ESG.
I was
Yeah,
just
so it's
trying to
gone
recall it as
social
well.
responsibility, citizenship,
Yeah,
ESG,
that's
and it's
right.
evolving, isn't it? And there's always this discussion, is it just greenwashing? Taking
Exactly.
something that isn't socially responsible and making it appear socially responsible by, adding doing a bit of PR, basically. So are you involved in that space and challenging whether things really are greenwashing or they're actually genuinely considering their social impact on the environment?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I'm not so involved in the ESG space because I think that tends to sit more on the sort of in the commercial spaces. But I guess the work that I lead on and have led on over these past many years is really about how do we demonstrate real impact? How do we demonstrate transformation and how that's happening? So that's the sort of areas that I've been pioneering into, and looking at how do we do that in more innovative ways, and creating new tools to do that, so we can actually measure a whole range of different areas, not just is the economic change or environmental change, but where is some of the social change, relational change. So I guess I'm probably trying to influence from the edges, from the sidelines, and innovating into those spaces.
Yeah,
But I think there's some really exciting things that we're doing, which we're really coming much more into
yeah,
the public arena. So
yeah.
it's really exciting.
Yeah, so take a livelihood program in an African country that's empowering women to start small businesses. How would you measure the impact of that?
That's really great. Great question. What I have done is help to pioneer a new framework called the Light Wheel, which is about holistic change. So we may see in that situation that it's about economic change or about the empowerment of women in those situations. What we've done with this framework called the Light Wheel is look at how do we measure the relationship aspects, how do we measure the well-being that comes as a result of that. So some of the softer, intangible things to measure, as well as some of the
Yeah.
harder, more kind of tangible things like income. So yeah, so that we have lots of different tools and approaches, but that is one which I've been particularly pioneering.
Yeah. And how do you measure an improvement in relationships?
Well, it's great. I mean, you can break it down into different areas in terms of looking at how do people work together. So it might be relationships with others in your community. So can we get any insight into how people work together on a shared project? So that's a proxy indicator for relationships. Or it could be at Tear Fund we do quite a lot of work around sexual gender-based violence and how relationships can change between partners or between community members. So there are different ways in which you can do that, but it's really understanding what are the changes that you would see in a relationship and how do you measure that, and just trying to find some simple metrics and simple stories, qualitative information that can give you that insight into how that change is happening.
Fascinating. So, Catriona, when did you first think, I want to write a book? When did that happen?
Um,
Because not everybody has it, or well, lots of people have it, but not everybody does something about it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
when did you first have the hunch, and when then did you decide to actually do something about it?
Yeah, no, I think it's been something inside me for some time. It's sort of this kernel of an idea of like, oh, one day I'll write a book. You know, when you say those things, one day I will do this. So there has been oftentimes I said, one day I'll write a book. And I think for me, where it sort of started to coalesce really, and sort of I thought, no, I need to write this book. I went from I want to write a book or to I'm going to write a book was a couple of years ago at a leadership conversation at Windsor Castle. So I have the privilege of being a leadership fellow at St George's House at Windsor Castle, and we were there for a 2-day conversation on diversity and belonging, and what does it mean to be a leader, to lead in diversity, and what wisdom do we have as leaders in diversity and belonging. And I think it really sort of stirred in me this sense of, oh, maybe I've got something to share here. Maybe I have a different story that I want to bring around leadership. Maybe it nudged me into that position. And it was during that conversation, somebody used the term edge dweller. And I thought, gosh, that really resonates with me. This sense of sort of belonging, but not belonging, sort of on the edge, but and leading into something. And I think that 2-day conversation unlocked something for me, which was like, okay, I think, at the end of the session, we had to say, what were we going to take away from it? And I said, I'm going to write a book. So at that point, I put it out in the public domain. I'm going to write a book.
There's no backtracking then.
Exactly.
Yeah, oh, great. And then you joined the PublishU Writing My Book course. How did you find out about the course, and how did the course help you write your book?
Yeah, I was trying to remember how I actually found your course, Matt. I think it was probably because we, been linked in through LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
I think your adverts popped up, and because I had this idea of I need to write a book, I should write a book, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, look, there's a course to actually help you write a book. And I thought, I think I need that. I'm the sort of person that needs, some milestones and some direction and motivation to do it. And I thought that's just such a great thing to do. And I like to be sort of have a goal to work towards. So when I saw that, I just thought, oh, I'm going to sign up for that. That'll give me a bit of purpose over last year. And that's where it came from. And yeah, I was just really excited to see that and then to come together with the cohort of other writers. So yeah, it was really, really a great find.
Oh, fantastic. And now, of course, you're a globally published author. How does it feel to be, all of a sudden, you want to do it, you've made the decision you will do it, and now you're kind of like, you've done it. How does that feel?
I have to admit, it feels slightly strange, or I mean, it's exciting as well. I think yeah, to take an idea from an idea to, into the concept, into, birthing it into reality. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I guess I'm curious to kind of know where it goes to. I'm curious to know how it's received and curious to know what comes out of it. But no, I think it feels really good to be here and, expecting the publication.
Yeah, so I mean, the book is live. So what do you hope it achieves, Catriona?
Yeah, I hope it can help others to think about, how do they lead? Where are they pioneering into new spaces? To really embrace difference and to embrace a different way of leading, or to really sort of challenge maybe some of the norms, and but really to be authentic in that leadership, and to sort of reflect on your own journey as a leader, and think about the areas that you want to grow in. So I share some of my story through that. I share some reflections from sort of maybe academic research and insight. And I hope that it can give people both inspiration, maybe questions to explore,
Yeah,
some areas of challenge. And so yeah, I really hope that that's what it can do.
yeah, yeah. And how do you, I mean, obviously we need to read the book, and I've ordered mine. They're on the way. I'm looking forward to reading them. Because I always order more than one copy, so that's why I say them. But I've ordered your book, and I'm looking forward to reading it as the published form. What would you say are the kind of three takeaways that you can give people today about how to lead from the edge, how to be an edge dweller? Because there's leadership and leadership, isn't there? And you're very much focused on innovation, impact, working at the margins. I mean, what advice would you give people listening to this interview about leading on the margins, leading from the edge?
Yeah, so I think for me it's about taking courage. I think be courageous, and don't give up. So I talk a lot about grit and tenacity.
Yeah,
I think sometimes when you're in the edge, it can feel very hard sometimes, or it's a long game. Often you're in spaces where you're having to press into and push through difficult spaces or difficult issues. And so I think take courage, build up your grit and your resilience and your tenacity to keep on going. If you believe in what you do and you've been given that vision to take something forwards, and but do that with others. It's not about being single-minded. This is about working along with others. And that's why I explore in the book of who is alongside you as you do that. And as you go on that journey of being an edge leader, you're getting ideas from others, and you're building your network and your connections and your relationships. So I'm really encouraged to don't go alone. And I think, don't accept the norm. Be willing to be challenged yourself, be willing to challenge your own self. And it's about a journey of growth for yourself as well. So I think those would be my sort of three.
Hmm. So I heard you say courage,
Yes.
collaboration, and creativity.
Great. That was a great summary, Matt.
Thank you. Yeah, you can tell I'm a communicator speaker, can't you? You can, if you can't wrap it up in three, you haven't got anything to say really. But that's what I heard loud and clear from what you said, and I take, I take encouragement from that personally. The need, if we want to be leading on the edge, to be courageous, gritty, to be collaborative, never to go it alone, work with others, and to be creative. Don't be afraid to break paradigms, stop doing old things, do new things, try things out. My philosophy in leadership is launch and learn, don't plan and perfect. Because you can spend a lot of time planning and perfecting, and you can kill an idea by planning and perfecting it. The only way to find out if an idea works is to launch it.
Mm,
So, get it up there, get it flying, and see what happens. If you have to do a fast landing, so be it. But you never know. You
I love
might go away
that.
to Australia.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that concept. Thanks, Matt. No, I really love that. Thanks for sharing that.
So yeah, so it's been great to chat to you today, Catriona, about your book, and I just want to encourage you, if you're listening and you're interested and passionate about leadership, get this book. But a big thank you to Catriona, and thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast, featuring the real life stories from authors around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Catriona, please can I encourage you to visit our website, www.publishu.com, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, please make sure you subscribe so that you can hear more of them. And if you would love to write a book, please do get in touch. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.